Scientists discovered something shocking about Viking DNA, and it's not what you think. They say the past is written in sagas, carved into running stones, and sung in tales of gods and warriors. But sometimes, history isn't written at all. It is hidden, quietly carried in the blood of the living. The Vikings, long imagined as fierce raiders and fearless sailors, left behind more than longships and legends. They left a genetic legacy scattered across Europe and beyond. And now, with the tools of modern science, researchers are peeling back the layers of this ancient inheritance. Yet what they've uncovered has startled even the experts, because when scientists began decoding Viking DNA, they found something that no one was expecting. Something that not only challenges what we thought we knew about these legendary seafarers, but also shakes the very foundation of who we imagine the Vikings to have been. From windswept fjords of Norway to the rugged coasts of Britain, from burial mounds in Sweden to skeletal remains unearthed in Iceland, the DNA story was supposed to be straightforward. A people unified by Scandinavian bloodlines, spreading across Europe in the Viking Age. But the reality told by their bones was something else entirely. These weren't just warriors with blonde hair and blue eyes, descendants of a single homogeneous tribe. Instead, the DNA revealed a tapestry of ancestries woven from threads that came from as far away as southern Europe, Central Asia, and even the Arctic North. The Vikings, it turns out, weren't who we thought they were. They weren't even who they thought they were. But before we reach the heart of this genetic mystery, we need to understand the story that the world has always told about them, the story that now, thanks to DNA, stands on shaky ground. The Viking myth and the first DNA clues. For centuries, the Vikings have lived in our imagination as a single people, a united Norse race, forged in icy fjords, their blood as pure as the waters they sailed. When you picture a Viking, you likely imagine the same image repeated across sagas and Hollywood screens: tall, blonde, blue-eyed, fierce, and unmistakably Scandinavian. This image has been carved deep into the cultural consciousness. Chroniclers from medieval Europe describe them as terrifying outsiders, raiders from the north, with fire in their eyes and steel in their hands. Archaeologists unearthed longships and weapons that seem to confirm the image of a people singular in purpose and origin. Even school textbooks reinforce the idea that the Vikings were a distinct, homogeneous group. But science has a way of cutting through myth, and DNA, unlike stories or sagas, does not lie. It records the truth in silent code, waiting to be unlocked. The first hints that the Viking story might be more complicated came quietly. In burial grounds across Scandinavia, scientists began sequencing DNA from Viking skeletons dating back over 1,000 years. At first, the goal was modest: to trace lineages, to confirm ancestry, to see whether the remains truly matched the Viking stereotype. What researchers expected was confirmation that the bones of these warriors would reflect a clear, consistent Scandinavian heritage. Instead, the results raised eyebrows. Some individuals buried in unmistakably Viking graves carried DNA markers not typically associated with Scandinavia at all. Others showed genetic ties to populations hundreds or even thousands of miles away. A puzzle was forming, piece by piece. Why would a Viking warrior in Denmark share ancestry with people from southern Europe? Why would a woman buried in Sweden carry genetic signals linked to the steppes of Central Asia? And how could communities that live side by side for centuries show such dramatic variation in their genetic fingerprints? The more samples scientists tested, the less uniform the picture became. It was as if the Vikings had never been one people, but rather a vast network of groups connected by ships, trade, and ambition. And then came the breakthrough, a massive international project that would shake everything we thought we knew about Viking identity.